Hey guys, Adam Francisco here. We got little Cloud, here she is. My little girl, she's getting so big. And of course we got Raindrop. Come here girl, come here girl, come say hi to everybody. Come say hi to you too. There we go, here's Raindrop. Anyway guys, hope everybody is staying safe and healthy during this crazy coronavirus pandemic. Today though, we're not actually going to talk about coronavirus. We're going to talk about what I've been doing for the past couple of weeks and things that I've learned. Hopefully this can help you guys out if you're considering becoming a food delivery driver in the meantime to make ends meet. But first I want to give a shout out to my quarantine cut that I gave to myself yesterday. I might have gone a little too short on the sides and I really couldn't see the back, so if my haircut looks weird from the back, that's what happens during a quarantine. But anyway, hey, what's up Cloud? So I want to talk to you guys some tips about how to make as much money as possible on Uber Eats if you guys are doing that right now to either survive or to supplement your income. If you guys agree, leave some comments. If you have other tips, leave some comments. Tip number one, I've learned that it's best to hang out by restaurants, not by apartments. So when I first started doing Uber Eats, I was usually hanging out by apartments, far away from the restaurants. It's not the best strategy. The best strategy is to actually stay by the restaurants and you're more likely to get pinged. Try to hang out by more premium restaurants or restaurants where you're more likely to get a larger order. So I'll give you some examples. If you hang out by Benihana's, if you hang out by like an Outback Steakhouse, you're likely going to get not only more expensive orders, but you're going to get larger orders, usually for families or groups. So the reason why you want to do that is the bigger the order, the bigger the chance that you'll get a nicer tip that is a percentage of the overall order size. If you're delivering someone's McDonald's lunch and the meal was $8, I mean, what's the most they're gonna tip you realistically? They're not gonna tip you $8, they're probably gonna tip you $2 because the meal only costs $8. So I recommend sticking by bigger restaurants like Benihana's. My biggest tip was actually Benihana's. The order was about $2.50 and the customer threw me a $50 tip. So that was awesome. For one ride, I got a $50 tip. That felt really good. Tip number three, if it's raining out, hit the road. Hit the road immediately, especially if it's raining super hard out. I know it's more dangerous, but from my experience, customers have typically been more understanding of bad weather conditions. And if you're out there hustling during bad weather conditions, they'll usually reward you with a bigger tip. So in some ways, it's kind of like getting your own hazard pay. Tip number four, try to work during the dinner crowd between 5 to 9 p.m. around. What I found is when you work during that range, you're more likely to get family orders. So, you know, mom, dad, kids, the nuclear family. So not only are they bigger orders, but a lot of times that means bigger tips. If you deliver later at night, for example, the 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. crowd, you're typically not getting families. You might get a lot of people that are partying. You might get people that have finished partying. You might get the night owls. And as a result, you typically don't get as big of tips. Although the benefit of working the later shift, you know, midnight to 2 a.m. for example, is the roads are empty. So you get to drive as fast as you want basically, but be safe of course. You get to drive without traffic. You could do orders much faster. And so, you know, you're turning around orders as quickly as possible between 12 and 2 a.m., which is good, but the tips are going to be on average slightly smaller, my experience. Hang out around middle to upper class neighborhoods, bigger houses, nice luxury apartments. And now the reason why is, first of all, there's this belief that rich people don't tip. That's how they stay rich. And, you know, maybe that's true for the most part. However, you're always going to get that one generous rich person that has big pockets and loose pockets at the same time. And so when you hang out at these upper middle class areas, you're basically creating a scenario where you're more likely to get a larger tip. Remember that Benihana's tip I spoke about a few minutes ago where I got $50? She lived in a really nice house and it was for a family. So everything about that delivery lined up with what I'm saying. It was a big order from a premium restaurant for a family of 4 or 5, and she lived in a nice house in a very well-to-do neighborhood. $50 tip. Now, it's not a guarantee that you're going to get a big tip from rich people, because some rich people, honestly, they feel entitled and they look down on this job. So not all rich people are going to tip you big, but you've created a scenario where you have just better odds of getting a bigger tip. Another piece of advice, When you're new at delivering food, you might not know which restaurants take a long time to prepare the orders, but as you become more experienced, you'll quickly figure out which restaurants either have typically long lines or typically long waiting times. Reject those orders. When it comes to delivering food, your time is money, okay? The last thing you need to do is if you see a $5 delivery order come in, you drive to the restaurant and you're waiting there 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, you're eating into your own productivity. And the only way that you can offset that is if the customer that you're delivering food to gives you a big tip. That's never guaranteed, nor is it polite to ask for it in advance. So in that scenario, I would reject those orders. But if you're forced to take those orders, because maybe it's not too busy, I would let the customer know proactively, hey, I'm at the restaurant. There seems to be a long wait here. I'll get to you as soon as I possibly can. I've done that, and not only does the customer appreciate the update, but they kind of read between the lines what you're asking for. So always keep your customers updated on long lines, which goes into the next point. If there's long lines, keep your customers updated. Customers who are ordering food, the delivery, are usually hungry and they want to eat now. So always letting them know, hey, I'm on a drive-through, there's 15 cars in front of me. The restaurant said there's a 15-minute wait, there's bad weather. Always keep the customer alerted to any potential slowdowns in your delivery speed. I'm telling you, they'll appreciate the communication rather than them having to contact you. If the customer has to contact you asking where their food is, it's already not the best delivery and you haven't set yourself up for success. So always communicate, just like any relationship, whether it's business, personal, romantic, friendship, always over communicate. And I think that's definitely one of the keys to earning a big tip. Another thing to keep in mind is the restaurants and the customers can rate you through the app. So if a restaurant's giving you a hard time, they're making you wait, don't get annoyed. Either cancel the order and walk away, or because then they can't rate you, or just be polite, be respectful, wait around, get the order, and then do the delivery. And the restaurant will give you a good rating because you were patient and you were kind. And when you do the drop off with the customer, always smile, always be happy. And I think they'll appreciate that positive energy. Because remember, people operate based on emotions. And when you're dropping the food off, you want them to feel good about what they've done. Because as I said before, you're not just delivering food, you are delivering joy, okay? So that's really another important thing to know. A lot of customers, especially during coronavirus, they want contact-free delivery, which means that you and the customer don't interact at all. A lot of times they'll put in the notes, leave at door, leave on front porch, knock, walk away. Read the directions that the customer gives you. They put them there for a reason. Read the directions and try to follow them to an absolute T, okay? If the customer says leave on door, leave on porch, knock and walk away, just do that. Do that. Because they'll appreciate the fact that you are respecting their requests. Even if it becomes a faceless delivery and they never see you or meet you, it doesn't mean they don't appreciate that you listen to their directions. So definitely always follow the direction of the customer. Also, sometimes the customer will want to customize their order, or they'll have an addition they want to the order, like extra sour cream on the side or extra hot sauce. Make sure you include that in the order. Sometimes that'll get you a bigger tip. If the customer, look, we all have ordered food before and then not received the condiment or sauce that we wanted to go along with our meal, and it's definitely put a damper on the meal. If you get Taco Bell without Diablo sauce, are you even having Taco Bell, right? So if customers asking for a specific condiment, always bring it to them. They'll appreciate the effort and they'll appreciate that you paid attention to what they're asking for. There's also a feature in the Uber Eats app that when a customer tips through the app, you can actually click thank them for the tip through the app. Now, from my understanding, Uber Eats sends them an impersonal email saying, driver thanks you for the tip. But in my opinion, that's better than nothing, right? It's always good to be grateful for the tips you get. And I think that that's more likely to make these customers tip in the future. So you should support the rest of the Uber Eats driver community or the Uber Eats fleet, whatever they're called, by thanking the customer for the tip, because it'll encourage future behavior. People operate based on incentives. This is how humans, animals, dogs, girlfriends, boyfriends, husbands, wives, we all operate based on incentives. So it's always good to thank people for the tip, which again is optional, but it's always appreciated. As you start delivering to different apartments and different complexes, what you'll find is some buildings are really hard to find. Sometimes it's hard to find the entrance. Sometimes it's hard to find out how to get into the building. And there are a lot of situations that can literally waste your time as a driver trying to get in touch with, trying to find the building, right? So in that scenario, I find it's always easiest to just call the customer through the app and say, hey, I'm at your complex. I'm having a hard time finding the entrance or how to get to you, okay? Odds are you are not the first driver to have this issue. And the fact that you can call, they're less likely to get lost in translation. Obviously, you know, when you type with someone and you message somebody, things can get lost. There could be a comma missing, a period missing. So I find to save myself time, I call the customer and I say, how do I get into your building? This is a bit confusing and I'd like to just get you the food as quickly as possible. So that saves you time. And also I hope the customer appreciates the fact that you're trying to communicate and get them what they order as quickly as possible. Now, depending on where you deliver, there could be things called boosts or incentives through the app that can give you more money. For example, you could use a Postmates or Uber Eats referral code. And after you achieve a certain amount of deliveries, you can get a bonus. There's also boosts, which is when it's a really busy time. There could be a multiplier on some of your deliveries. Now, I'm delivering right now in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And this city is obviously not as busy as New York. And in my app right now, currently, I'm seeing a lot of quests, they call them, for New York City because it's a busy place to deliver food. Florida, I haven't seen any requests. And I believe I've only seen a boost once, which is when it was pouring rain here and I did some deliveries. I was making about $9 to $10 per delivery. So there must have been a boost happening on the back end. Unfortunately, I haven't really seen it on the app. But depending on where you deliver, there could be boosts, there could be incentives, there could be referral codes. Maximize those, use those, because that's basically a way to easily double your income very quickly. If you have a newer car, your car probably has an economy mode or eco mode. What that does is it makes your fuel efficiency better. So if you have that, definitely turn on your eco mode. I know it only saves a small amount of gas, but you know what? That adds up over time. And obviously, the more gas you use, the more it eats into your profits. So keep that in mind. When you're an Uber Eats driver, you basically are operating as your own independent small business where you have costs that you have to, maintain, which is the fuel of your and the gas, the wear and tear of your car. So keep in mind that anything that you could do to save a few pennies per hour definitely adds up over the long run. As a dog lover myself, and I bring my dogs with me on my deliveries, as you guys know, if the person has a dog, which usually when you knock on the door or ring the doorbell, the dog is going to bark or respond. That's what dogs do, right? They're supposed to alert their owners, their masters, that, hey, someone's here. If you hear that the customer has a dog, always be friendly to the dogs, ask questions about the dogs. This is a simple way to connect with somebody, especially a dog owner. We all love our dogs. Dogs are like the keys to our heart. When you show respect and love for another dog, especially for a customer's dog, they are more likely to give you a bit of a little extra tip. So keep that in mind. Finally, the question I get a lot from people is Uber Eats a great way to make money? The answer, no. Hell no. This is definitely not a way to become rich. That's the bottom line. And it's barely a way to have a livable salary. These are just facts. When you factor in gas, waiting time, which you're not being paid for, the wear and tear on your vehicle, the cost of car insurance, you're literally making anywhere between $12 to $15 an hour. And that's not taking those other costs into account. And that's not even taking taxes into account. You got to pay taxes on that too. So when you really look at it, you're probably netting around $7, $8 in your pocket per hour after all is said and done. And as we know, that's not a lot of money, especially if you live in New York City. Now, if there are boosts happening or it's a busy area and you've done everything you could to maximize your tips, you could make between $15 to $20 an hour. The best I've done so far is $20 an hour for a 7-hour shift. That's the best I've done, and that's when it was raining and I was following all these tips. So, are you gonna get rich on Uber Eats? No, never gonna happen. But I do think Uber Eats is a good way to supplement your income, right? So, if you find yourself spending $30 a day, for example, on food or whatever, small things you have in your life, and you want to basically break even to those costs, yeah, I think it's worth going on Uber Eats for a few hours a night, 3-4 hours a night, and supplementing your income and offsetting your own personal costs. That, I think, works, right? But to get rich off Uber Eats and to make this your primary income, you're going to probably have to work 10 hours a day. And in those 10 hours a day, you're probably going to make maybe $200. And if you do quick math, let's say you work 5 days a week, you can make about $1,000 a week on the high end, I believe, doing Uber Eats. And that seems to be in line with what I've seen on some of the Facebook groups for Uber Eats and Postmates pages. So you're making $1,000 a week, that's $4,000 a month. 4 times 12 is $48,000 a year. Now that's not a bad salary depending on where you live, but however, that does factor in that you're doing every single thing right. And of course, that 48K is before taxes, it's before gas, it's before wear and tear in your vehicle, it's before insurance. So when you add it up, your real take home in cash is probably closer to around $20,000 a year, which again is livable in terms of you can maybe pay rent and you can eat, but you're not having a lavish lifestyle. You're not taking your girlfriend or wife out to steak restaurants often. You're not going on vacation, or at least not going to lavish vacations. You're never staying at the Ritz-Carlton. You really can't install custom sound speakers in your car. You can't install leather seats and upgrade. Having a dog, that's going to probably be a huge impact on your bottom line. You know, having a dog costs about $2,000 a year, so you're not going to live this lavish lifestyle. You're literally going to be just making ends meet. So in the best case scenario, I find Uber Eats a way to make ends meet or supplement your income. I do not recommend this as a full-time job. However, given the times of coronavirus that we're all in right now, I do think that it is a great outlet for us to survive and get by. So if you are having a hard time right now, if you are on unemployment, if you are looking to do something just to give yourself a little extra cash, and really only have to work a couple hours a day to make $50, then I think that this could be a good, option for you guys. So anyway, I hope you guys found this useful. It's all the tips that I've learned in Uber Eats so far. And yeah, if this helps you guys make a little extra money every hour, it adds up. And that's great. That's the point of this video. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Also, let me know where you're delivering. Leave in the comments what city or state that you guys are delivering in, because I just love to see where my audience is coming from. I think that's always, one of the fun things about being a YouTuber or Instagrammer. If you guys like this content, you could hit subscribe. And if you want to see the next video, you could hit the bell. And of course, you could follow me on Instagram, which is where I have my largest audience, which is @AdamFrancisco. And follow my dogs too, Cloud and Raindrop. Sometimes they post content. I think mine's better than theirs, but if you like cute things, you can follow my dogs. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you're all staying safe. Stay home, practice social distance. And of course, the most important thing, be free, my sheeple. I didn't do this thing that time.
Hey guys, be free, my sheeple.